Hey, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good, good.
So, Matt, today is a really nice day, actually, because we will have a very special program today.
Hmm.
That is actually, yeah, many people have been asking about the what if method and how do I become an expert using the what if method, and how do I use this method in my
Hmm.
company, in my daily life, in my, I don't know, as a work, as a consultant. So
Hmm.
that's pretty much the main topic today. It will be like the first lesson about the what if concept, about the what if method. Actually, is the,
Yeah.
the formal the formal phase, of the
Hmm.
what if of the what if method.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm always excited to introduce what if is and share what it can be. And for today, I was thinking we could even just start with a little bit of the background, but then start getting into some of the processes. So, again, and even the background, I'm hoping might facilitate some discussion and even other questions where maybe we can dive deeper into some of the processes in future visits or talks. But yeah, so when people ask me like, what is it or what do you do? It took me a while, honestly, as an entrepreneur to fully and completely confidently explain what I do. And what it is I work in curiosity. Now, if I say that, a lot of times people are like, well, what does that mean? Or what do you do with curiosity? So the idea is that with what if and with curiosity is we can do almost anything, but whatever we do is we start with a point of curiosity and then we point it in a specific direction that leads us to action steps that we take in order to complete or follow that direction. And that's a very general understanding of what it is. And I guess, going down like the what it is, who it's for, where it works, and all of this. I do this with everyone from educators in schools and universities, but also with entrepreneurs and those working with entrepreneurs. But I also work directly with executives, business owners, administrators, whoever. And the idea is that they may have different goals or different purposes to get curious, but the processes are the same or are altered slightly different depending on the audience or the purpose. Yeah. So that's the very, as we say, like the 30,000 foot view, the airplane view of everything we do.
Yeah.
Now, what that looks like is it takes many different forms. Again, in a pre-COVID world, I prefer doing this in person, right? Through interactive workshops, and I still do that. But now, with COVID, in a COVID world, we do this remotely. And one of the guiding questions, and probably one of the things I could cover today too, is one of the guiding questions of what if curiosity is what if there are no problems, only opportunities. So the idea is with no matter what life throws at you, or no matter what happens in the world, if you use your curiosity and you know what processes to follow with it, you'll be prepared for anything. So now in the COVID world, it created an opportunity for both me individually, but also what if as a company, and curiosity based learning as a process, but also a movement to actually to scale more than what we could have maybe even pre-COVID. So that's pretty exciting, and seeing how we can start sharing and connecting and growing this curiosity. It's not just curiosity-based learning, I like to say, but curiosity-based movement. Like
Okay.
how can we start putting curiosity at the front of everything?
So that's pretty cool. And yes, and actually, I'm with you with this thing about the COVID. Yeah, previous the COVID, everything was in person, even if wasn't needed actually. But now that, of course, we are getting used to. Not because we are forced to now, no, it's because we are just used to that thing that we were forced like
Yeah.
6 months ago, to get more into the online tools and the online learning, and the even creating successful meetings online actually is pretty hard. but actually, but it's happening. When you have the right procedure and you understand what are the steps that you need to take into action to have a productive meeting, I think is perfect.
Yeah.
But as you might know, a lot of people ask me as well, hey, how do I actually, if I want to use, okay, let's go to the practice, the practice side of this topic. What's the first step, Matt? So, okay, you want to enter and go deeper in this what if movement, as you call. What will be the first steps? What's the procedure that one should follow?
Yeah. Well, I guess there's different procedures. If you want to officially work, send me an email and we'll talk about how we can set up meetings and going forward. But honestly, the process starts with and it's difficult because there's more than one way to do it, right? But it does always start with a problem or something to be solved. And I'm hesitating calling it problem all the time too, because in a conversation with one of the executives that we're working with on something called the Corporation of Tomorrow, what came up was, we're always innovating for problems. Like, what if we can possibly innovate from something that's already working or something that's good? What if we can go from good to better instead of from broken to okay? Yeah. So I'm trying to change the vocabulary, but we start with a problem, or I even like to say a focus, right? So what is it that we're getting here together for? It could be anything from, again, this is where the audience matters. If it's teachers at a school, then there's going to be one purpose. If it's entrepreneurs, not even every entrepreneur has the same purpose, right? Some entrepreneurs are very at the earliest stages, and they just need to know how to create a business model canvas, or how to even launch an idea or get a team together. And some entrepreneurs have been at it for a while, and they have very specific things that they need to solve, like how to scale, or how to do marketing, or how to hire your first person. And then executives have a whole different set of situations or focuses they may want. So once we understand what it is we're all getting together to spend our time for, the fun begins. And what I mean by fun is the first step is just to get curious. So regardless of what the focus is, the first, and also regardless of the process, there are multiple curiosity-based learning processes. But it doesn't matter what the focus, what the age group, what any of it is. The first step is always not just curiosity, but individual curiosity, which is important because as you go along this process, things are going to get more and more collaborative. And that's intentional because part of the idea is we want to get collaborative, not just because that's the way the world works and we work, we're collaborative species, but it also prevents any individuals from taking full ownership of the idea or the process or whatever else is going on. So that way that there's a freer flow of discussion, of ideas, of actions, when it's not like, well, I'm doing this because my boss told me, or I'm doing this because the teacher told me, or I'm doing this because, right? So one of the we go through, we want to eliminate all of these other things. So we start with an individual point of curiosity before we move to the collaborative side, because as we're collaborative, at the end of the day, we're also selfish. We're also self-interested. We also want to have buy-in. We want to, even if we don't get all the credit, we want to feel like we contributed. And when we start with what makes us curious about what we're trying to solve or create, it democratizes the process to a degree, because now everybody gets to enter the process at a point that they're very comfortable with their own curiosity. So this is like when we talk about getting, again, it always frustrates me when people say we need to get outside the box. Right? Show me, how do we? Well,
Yeah.
This is one of the ways you can't, a lot of times people are willing to get out of the box, but it's a psychological barrier because getting outside the box is scary. It's dangerous. It's threatening. With the curiosity-based learning processes, we work on different ways to eliminate that fear, to eliminate those barriers, to eliminate at least the perceived risks for getting outside of the box.
Yeah,
And,
Matt. Indeed, I will add something because this is
uh,
very important. People actually get to understand and, of course, practice this second step. I
mhm.
will call it the second step. First
Yeah.
one, as
So,
you said before, is get curious yourself. So basically, it's about uh, creating the environment. Let's say, for example, you are with five people.
mhm.
The first, very first step is let people to get curious one, each one, just
Mhm.
to get curious. Just start the movement. Of course, we can share later, maybe in next chapters,
Mhm.
different methods about how to promote curiosity in one person. But first
Yeah.
step, get curious one by one, just
Mhm.
yourself in your personal space. Just let yourself and let everybody in the room get curious. Then we move to the step number two. We can say this is a step process,
Yeah.
but get collaborative. And then how do you get collaborative? Is opening the discussion with now that you are moving with
Mhm.
curiosity by yourself. Now you are moving into the curiosity, but the curiosity created by the group. But
Yes.
in one thing that I will add, yeah, that is very important,
Mhm.
it's remember that this process is not about just the majority of the people, because when you sometimes when you say, hey, it's about the democracy,
Mhm.
you have to be careful, because democracy is just a 51% decision. Yeah, but it actually is not a democratic process,
Yeah.
because the problem with the democratic process is that this the decision of the majority. But
Mhm.
here we are talking about the benefit of the majority.
I like
Is
that.
how do you create a benefit that is the most higher benefit, and it's not the most, the higher benefit for
Mhm.
the community? How
Yep.
do you create, or how do you extract, or how do you promote, or how do you think about maximizing the benefit
Mhm.
for everybody,
Yeah.
not just, oh my god, this is the benefit of the majority. No,
Mhm.
you are leaving a lot of things on the table, not
Yeah.
just money. You're leaving opportunities on the table. You're leaving maybe hope of some
Mhm.
people,
Sure.
ideas of some of them, because it's very important just to get to understand the difference
Mhm.
between the benefit of the majority, that might
Mhm.
be the 51%, and maximizing the benefits for the community or for
Yeah.
the group as a whole.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Rather than democratizing it, making the process more communal might be a better choice, because there isn't voting, but everybody's contributing.
Yeah, everybody.
But they're contributing from a point of selfishness or self-interest because it's their curiosity. But that's one of the beautiful things I love about the two words "what if" or the "what if" approach, is because if you get curious and you suggest, well, what if we do this, or what if this is the solution, you're not saying, I think it's the solution, or we should do this, or we need
Mhm.
to do that. And it sounds weird, but remember, my background is English and literature and language. And so I get nerdy on these little things. But again, when we're talking about the how the group communicates, the smallest thing of changing those two words from I think to what if can make all
Mhm.
the difference.
Yeah.
At the earliest stages, everything's cumulative, right? We make our first impression in the first 7 seconds or some of meeting somebody, right? And then it only gets better or worse from there. And the same idea is when we first meet and we first start tackling the problem. If there's something that starts at that starting point of the process, many times that carries through the entire life of the process and it brings it down or it slows it up, right? But if everybody's on the same page from the start, then it helps it run a lot, more smoothly, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a very powerful thing. Yeah, and it's a very powerful tool when we are working together.
Yeah.
Is move from the I think
Yeah.
to the what if.
Mhm.
And if you're listening this video, of course, if you're watching this video, we invite you to make the experiment. Just
Yeah.
tonight. Just this is something that you can do tonight in your house,
Yeah.
dealing with your family. Instead of saying "I think," just change the word.
Mhm.
Hey, what if? And then go with your wording process.
Yeah.
It totally changed, not just the way you are approaching to the
Mhm.
as you say, I don't like the problems.
Yeah.
It changed the way you're approaching to the situation. You're approaching to the perception of something,
Yeah.
and you are opening the space to unlimited solutions.
Yeah.
Because when we say "I think,"
Mhm.
we are very broad,
Yep.
because "I think" is based on what I know.
One perspective.
One
You
perspective,
nailed
yes.
it right there. You said it better. I wish I was writing that down. This is recorded, but
Yeah, this is recorded.
it's a lot of times we, again, I'm a writer, literature person. We always say, don't say it, show it, don't say it, show it, don't say it. And you just did it there again about, everybody says, have a wide perspective or have an open mind. But it's hard to have an open mind when you share that open mind with "I think" or "you should," right? If you say
Yeah.
"what if," you're showing that you have an open mind. And it also makes me think back what you were talking about. Our mutual friend Colin Bunch talks a lot about having a bias toward action. He always says a bias toward action. And I always like to look at the what if, asking what if, or even curiosity, as a bias toward the positive. And I think that's what you're talking about as well. Instead of saying, let's solve the problem, or like, here, everything's gone to hell and now we got to build it back, and everything doesn't have to be Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. Everything doesn't have to be good against evil all the time, right? Everything that we can approach situations with a positive lens, right? Hey, what if we do this better? Instead of, everything's broken, we got to survive. Like, what if we do this? Or what if, and I also, because I know you're an athlete as well, or you like to, be physically active. I say, from a sports perspective, this is the difference of being on your toes or the balls of your feet versus the heels, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's in athletics, it's a sign of preparedness. I don't know how to say that in English. It's preparedness or preparedness, right? Yeah, and we talk about being like, even if you don't have the ball, or if you're on the other side of the field where the action is, you want to be in this position, right? And I see in a lot of ways, both being positive or being what if or being curious, puts you in that athletic position, so that no matter, whether it's a ball coming at you that wasn't expected, or whether it's a problem, a situation coming at you that wasn't expected, you don't have to take an extra second to get prepared and then take action. Your mind, and that's what I try to work with people, especially at the corporate level, is what if, in this curiosity-based learning, it's not necessarily a class or an experience where you come in and you learn this and you leave with that. It's more like a gymnasium or a gym to go work out, like where they constantly are exercising their curiosity muscles, or their creativity, brain, and all of this, so that when they're at work, or when they're in the action or the unpredictable, that when something happens, they can rely on what they were practicing. It becomes like muscle memory in sorts, right? And I think in a lot of ways, that's the overall goal with this. Not that you just learn these processes, or you just read the book of what if, or you just take away this takeaway, but you're actually trained in a way that it comes naturally to you, right? That you can respond in a creative way, relying on curiosity, no matter what comes to you.
Yeah, and last week I was reading something about Elon Musk. Of course,
Uh-huh.
it's very often that I call his name.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he was saying when he was working with the team of people, the smartest people in this planet, actually, that he's looking actively to work with them.
Yeah.
It was something like, when I went to these meetings, I asked, "Hey, what if we live in March in 10 years from now?"
Yep.
What if we are able to create crops in Mars? So not the answer, the trigger for a conversation is so powerful, rather than, hey, I'm Elon Musk and I think we can go to Mars, and people say, oh yeah, you're right. Now you close the conversation, and you say, what if? And a more local example, a more I would say small example. One of my friends this actually was this week. His company was celebrating the 40th birthday of the company.
Oh, nice.
And he was like, hey, Nestor, yes, this is really, really cool. 40 years of entrepreneurship, 40 years of very hard work. I think the next 40 will be for the second generation. But I say, hey, his name is Gonzalo. And I say, hey, Gonzalo, what if the next 40 or the 80th birthday of the company is celebrated in Mars, and you are opening an interplanetary communications company? And he was like, at first, of course, it was a very big laugh. Wow. And then, oh my God, if that might be something that he was expressing and creating so many crazy stuff and things and technology, and we need to create this and create this one. So basically, I need to prepare my son for the next 40, because 40 years is that fast. And I was surprised, like, oh my God, that's the power of it. And I wasn't saying, I think your company will be in Mars in 40 years. No. Hey, what if the 80th birthday is in Mars? And then it's like an explosion of creativity that this is, I would say, this will be the third step in the process. Now you are getting into the process, and people are excited about sharing stuff. And then the next step is just taking a positive what might be the word? A positive approach,
perspective,
and opening your perspective and taking notes or recording the process, because you will find a lot of things that you might never think before, because now then we go back to the root. This is based on curiosity, and this is a powerful stuff. And you do not have to have the knowledge to exercise the curiosity. Exercising the curiosity is one of the reasons you get the knowledge. But if you are not using the curiosity and you are just using your knowledge, you are limited. Yes, and your knowledge is the limit of the process. So basically, the first thing is we are opening and we are breaking the barriers in the process. So basically, and that's one of the stuff that some people say, hey, you have to be clear about where you are and where do you want to go. And we say, no, that's not true. We are making a compromise, I would say, and something that we agree is that we are working in the curiosity process, and we do not know where this will actually take the team. Of course, we will have some boundaries and restrictions, but it's not working based on them.
Well, actually, I'm going to make a slight correction there, just because it's a thought that came to my head. It's not fully a correction, but it's something that came to my head with this conversation. Is you're right. We don't know exactly where we'll go with following your curiosity, but I would argue we kind of do. We will go, or the team will go, wherever is the most valuable. And the reason I can bring this up is it's not anecdotal. I'm at the crossroads of education and entrepreneurship. My background, I have a master's degree from Columbia University in education. So a lot of this, what I do with entrepreneurship or curiosity is grounded in the science and the research of, we know, like, how we learn, right? Throw all of that out the window. Because if I have a master's from Columbia University, having an 18-month-old just gave me a PhD. So watching him do the learning, right? His learning, and I've been saying this for over a year now, it's 100% driven by curiosity, but he only learns what's most valuable to him. He understands it intrinsically. Because I could give him a book on how to do computer coding or how to drive a car. And guess what? He's not stupid, but it has no value to him. He is laser focused on the things that have the most immediate value right now. It was walking, then it was his motor skills. Right now, he wants to do taekwondo and throw a baseball, right? He's kicking a soccer ball. And it looks fun and everything else, but there's a value that he's building up in coordination about motor skills. And again, whether he can express it or not, he's going along a process dictated by his curiosity that is going to lead him to a point where he can do computer programming or learn how to drive a car at the point it's most valuable. But look at how we do education right now. We're trying to teach babies how to drive a car and do programming before they know how to walk. We're dictating it from the outside in. But an entrepreneur would never tell his customer what she needs to buy. He goes, what do you value, and how can I connect my product or service to that value? Well, education is the same. And whether you're learning to a new language, learning how to walk, or learning how to innovate in your company or your wherever, right? And that's one of the beautiful things about curiosity, I think, is you're right. We don't know exactly where it'll end up, but we do know, and forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn here, based on biology, we can almost say it's biological imperative that we will learn what we value the most. And if you put that in front of a bunch of executives instead of babies, well, instead of learning how to walk, they're going to find out what the situations they need to solve in the company. They're going to find out where they need to go to make it successful, because they're following this path of curiosity, not being told from the top down to do this and that. So, yeah.
So that take us to the fourth step, that is actually introducing in this like a very hot soup that we are cooking now, the situations. But this is something that we will talk in the next episode, because now today I think that if you're watching this video and you get to understand the first, I would say, 3 steps that we talk today with Matt, is a huge improvement in the way you are approaching to your meetings, to your brain. What the expression is, the brainstorm. Brainstorm. And it's not just getting into the brainstorm, no, it's just preparing to go into the brainstorm using these simple 3 steps. And we are sure that you will get the most of your meetings and the process that you are doing in your company. Of course, then we move to the 4th step, but that will be in the next lesson. Then we have to keep something for that.
And this is fantastic, because speaking with you, Nestor, you've given me I've been able to think about and share things about curiosity-based learning and what if in ways I hadn't thought of before. So this is really exciting. I hope I can stay on track with these steps, because you're letting me kind of see and understand it in new ways as well. So yeah, I'm excited to.
Yeah. Thanks God this is recorded.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, it was so nice to see you this week, as usual.
All right. Have a great week.
Yes, and I'm sure I will use this video with some of our customers that they are asking, hey, how I use this? Okay, now we have the video. Go watch it. Matt, see you later.
All right,
see you next week. Bye-bye.